Okay, good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Atchison County Commission meeting for Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if you please stand and join me with the invocation with Sister Connie Postolic.
Thank you very much. It's very good to be with all of you. As I was saying before the meeting even began, at morning prayer at the Mount, I'm a Benedictine sister from Mount St. Scholastic Monastery. The morning prayer seemed to fit what you are all about. So this is from the book of Sirach. Another name for Sirach is Ecclesiasticus. Now you have to listen carefully because it's going to speak to your heart. These meetings change people. So I guess I would usually say, if you don't want to be changed, maybe you ought to step out of the room for a minute. But the writer says, a work is praised for the skill of the artisan. So a people's leader is proved wise by his words. The loud of mouth are feared in their city, and the one who is reckless in speech is hated. A wise magistrate educates his people, and the rule of the intelligent person is well ordered. As the people's judge is, so are his officials. As the ruler of the city is, so are all its inhabitants. An undisciplined king ruins his people, but a city becomes fit to live in through the understanding of its rulers. The government of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and over it he will raise up the right leader for the right time. Human success is in the hand of the Lord, and it is he who confers honor upon the lawgiver. And those are the words of God. So they will be written on your heart. Like I said, I am a Benedictine sister from the Mount. The Rule of Benedict was written over 1,500 years ago. And the very first word of the rule is very simple. Listen. 1,500 years old. Listen with the ear of your heart. You want to be servants? How is God going to use you to be servant of the people of the county? What are you going to do with all of that? Paul writes in Philippians that it is God who began the good work in you, and it is God who will bring it to completion. So this is very simple. Don't work hard. You don't have to work hard at any of this. If you prepare your heart and your ear of your heart, and you do your homework, as I see all the papers on the desk, you do your homework to be servant for the people. There are 4 words. Wisdom. You need to be wise. How do you get wise? The book of wisdom in chapter 7, verse 7, the writer says, if you want wisdom, ask for it and it's yours. That's pretty darn simple if you ask me. Understanding. You understand with your heart. You listen to the needs of your people that you're serving. Discernment. Discernment is you sift through everything you hear. I would imagine in this room you hear a lot of information, a lot of facts. You need to sift through it to get to the bottom of what God wants you to do with us, with me. I elect you, you know. So what is God going to do with you to bring all of this to fruition? And knowledge, you have your knowledge in front of you. You have to do your homework. And that takes time. And it takes a lot of energy and a lot of understanding and a lot of give and take. I write you all a prayer this morning. You get one too. And it's a very simple prayer, and I'm going to ask you to pray it with me. I have to tell you this. You have to pray slowly. You have to pray slowly so it penetrates your heart. You have to be branded on your heart. And we're from Kansas, and we know what brand means. We know what brand sounds like. We know what it smells like. Okay, we know brand. I preached a retreat in New York one time, and this man said, I'm not in Kansas, sister. So I went home and I made popcorn and I burnt my arm pretty badly. And Sister Mary Ray was PA. She said, "I take care of that." I said, "No, no, don't do that." So I went back to New York, took my jacket off. I said, "That's brand. How do you allow the Lord to brand your heart? Be branded before you serve. Be quiet before you serve." And so we pray together. "Oh Lord, give us strong, wise, compassionate leaders. Send us leaders with truthful hearts and impassioned spirits, who will stand for justice and freedom for all. Give us leaders who will unite with other leaders to bring about a kinder, more peaceful world. Leaders who will support their co-workers during times of challenge and change. Give us leaders who are servants of the people, listening, encouraging, caring for all races, creeds, and cultures, welcoming those seeking asylum, providing a safe place for all to thrive. This we ask in the name of our God, Jesus, our God, our higher power. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. God bless him on your meeting. That helps you.
And we can stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Right behind you. Yep. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sister.
You're welcome. Do they teach children? Do children do this anymore? Pledge allegiance in school? We did.
I think so.
When I was a kid. I hope so.
It
Have a good
is. Not
meeting.
everywhere.
Thank you.
You need to pick up a card. Okay.
I have one for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, public comment. Do we have any public comments? We did get a note in the mail, so from a public comment, so I can read that. County Commissioners, I wanted to let you know that the EMS crew that responded to my fall off a ladder were very caring and professional, getting me to the Atchison ER and then to Stormont Vale. Please continue funding this service. They are a definite asset to the community. From Mr. Patrick Knowles. So,
Oh, very nice.
so wanted to share that.
Very good.
Approval of the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes from last week?
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, so moved.
Okay,
Second.
been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 3-0. All right, Commissioner comments? Commissioner Knoll, do you have any?
Nothing today, thank you.
Okay,
I don't think so. I've got an EDAG meeting coming up. Nothing else I can think of right now.
I do not have anything this week either.
So I would mention, I went by the courthouse this morning and the treasurer's office is looking great. It's getting close. For next week, they said, so almost there.
Have they got the windows in yet?
No, they've got them, but they're waiting to do the floor before they put the windows in, so they don't take a chance of damaging the floor.
Okay, so I have the notification of the county appraiser change. This is for the appraiser separation of service due to our current appraiser, Deborah Thompson, that will be retiring effective June 30th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the notification of county appraiser change to the Kansas Department of Revenue effective June 30th, 2023?
So what all does it say in there?
K.S.A. 19-432D requires that the Board of County Commissioners or governing body of any unified government to notify the Director of Property Valuation on a form provided by the Director when a person no longer holds the office of county appraiser for such county. If the person no longer holds the office of county appraiser before the expiration of the 4-year term, or the person does not complete a 4-year term, then the notification shall include the reason therefore, unless otherwise precluded by law. This letter is to notify you, the following appraiser no longer holds the office of the county appraiser for the current appointed term. The director shall make a notation on any eligibility list record of the person when the person no longer holds the office of county appraiser before the expiration of the 4-year term, or the person does not complete the 4-year term. So this is just a form to them explaining Debbie from Atchison County, effective June 30th, 2023, will be resigning position due to retirement.
Okay, I knew we had to approve the other agreement first or not. That's what I was sure. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, I would move to approve that.
And I will second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, passes 3-0.
And I wish Debbie the best in her retirement.
Yes, and also, I guess it would be worth notating that for anyone wanting to celebrate Debbie's retirement, we are having a retirement celebration for her this Friday, June 30th, from 2 to 4 at the courthouse. So,
And I will be out of town, otherwise I'd be there.
okay. That takes care of that one. Pat, did you want to?
Sure. There is an agreement for acting county appraiser services between the county and the Kansas Department of Revenue. PVD, Property Valuations Division. And they have proposed that Angela Wright, who is one of their employees, would be the person primarily assigned to work with Atchison County, although there would also be others within that office that would, I think they try to have it set up so that they have work that could be done that's not quite as skilled done by people other than the appraisers. There's not a dollar per hour figure that is in there, but I'm told that it's approximately $28 per hour plus benefits. The agreement itself just says we will reimburse them the actual costs that they incur. So I would recommend adoption of that unless you're able to hire another appraiser in the next 4 days.
I have one question. I was look through this. I was trying to figure out. So will they be physically present here all the
Only
time,
as-
or just as needed, or?
Only as needed, because we will have to do mileage, and of course, that's going to be 2 hours of time. Now, but it won't be here every day.
Okay.
But it will be here as necessary, especially if there are hearings that they need to conduct.
So this, I'm sorry, I didn't.
You
mean-
probably have maybe the same questions.
Okay, so they will be in charge of the statistics and that type of thing, but what about running the office and managing employees? What is happening there? Is that up to HR? I mean, the second in command, it don't seem like what we're getting from someone remote. I mean, maybe they're in charge of the when reports are due and that they're filled out correctly, but I don't know that it's far from being a department head.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. This doesn't, that person is not going to primarily be involved with the day-to-day operations and supervision of the employees. And I guess how that works out is really up to you, but I think it would, number one, that's a department that runs very well. And I don't want to say runs without supervision, but for a short time, likely can get along. But that's really going to be up to your direction on how you want that to be run.
So I would like to see this agreement just fill in the statutory requirements of our appraiser duties, but any issues we have with staff to funnel it through the deputy appraiser with HR included, just as we would with a department head.
Yeah.
So, okay. Do I have a motion to sign the agreement for acting county appraiser services by and between Atchison County, Kansas and Kansas Department of Revenue?
Also
So,
move.
Say.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 3-0. Running a little ahead of time, but Jim Rowland, Chamber of Commerce 2024 appropriation request, you guys are up.
But so here's, but the mic will probably get you better. Yeah, the mic's a little bit better right here, so.
Oh, I'm allowed to say.
I would never say that.
Certainly wouldn't, out of fear. Madam Chair, members of the commission, thank you for the opportunity to present. Obviously, I sent over a packet, which I think you all have. I'll just highlight a few things and be happy to answer any specific questions that you have. As you all know, locally Atchison is the umbrella under which we have a chamber that exists, a tourism entity that exists, as well as a Kansas Main Street. And we just added a little whiskey depot to our portfolio this past year. So the chamber itself is in extraordinarily sound financial condition. We have worked really, really hard. Obviously with COVID, just over 3 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, that really forced us to make some difficult decisions and really reevaluate how we were doing things, cut back on expenses, and really think through how we were going to craft a path forward. So that really helped us kind of rethink what we were doing, how we were doing it, and in the interim, kind of build a capital reserve. As it relates to tourism, we are doing a lot of different things. I won't go through everything that we're doing. Obviously, we built a tourism asset from scratch with the partnership with MGP and the Whiskey Depot, really transformed the Santa Fe Depot into just a living, breathing space now that will attract other people, new people into the community. We've been doing a lot of micro-targeting as it relates to the fact that we have a wine bar, the Whiskey Depot, the microbrewery coming online, and all of the other entertainment. We actually crafted from whole cloth, a historic Atchison entertainment district, because there are so many entities and things available to us now in the downtown area. So that's been a great addition. It was a great partnership. MGP committed a certain amount of dollars, and with our being conservative in the last 3 years, we were able to tap into some capital reserves to finish the project in a way that really reflects what we wanted to achieve, which was to have that sense of history as you walked in the building, but yet have a brand new facility that would, look and feel like the depot. So we think we accomplished that. The best compliment Jill and I got, our last soft opening was with MGP executives, which was probably the most nervous that we had all been. But Dave Colo, the CEO, said, as he walked in, he walked up to me and he said, "You've exceeded my wildest expectations." So that was just amazing to hear, and just kind of shed, I gained the few years of life that I had lost in the process of building it. So we're working with TIAC, which is a Travel Industry Association of Kansas, on different partnerships. Our haunted season has taken on a life of its own. It's now a year-long thing, which is still amazing to me. But we have people coming from far and wide. We do very specific micro-targeting using digital to do advertising. And that literally draws people from across the country and in places beyond the country, from across the pond. So it's really pretty amazing to see. With the addition of a new trolley this year, our haunted trolleys, we sold out 6 straight weeks last year. We sold out in about 72 hours. So we hope we've been working really hard to add drivers and narrators to be able to expand that even further. We use a kind of a scarcity method of marketing with that. We will put out a certain number of trolley tours, and that as we sell out, we'll add. So we don't, put all of them out all at one time. There's a little bit of push. We sell them out as opposed to having, a trolley that was scheduled for X, and we end up with only 3 or 4 on there. So we're maximizing every time it goes out, it's sold out. So our Sally House visits are, as you see from it's insane. I mean, it's fantastic. So we've continued that partnership. We have expanded the partnership with McAteer, expanded the partnership with Ravenhurst. We've expanded a partnership with Angela Spurlock Harris downtown for Witches Weekend, which is taken on. It continues to get bigger and bigger. Our kickoff to our haunted season is a shocktail party over the course of 2 nights that brings in 200 people that goes out to all of those different entities. And we have a little event at the depot between. Muddy River will be bigger and better this year. We continue to expand that. Again, we look for opportunities to partner with different entities. First Fridays has expanded. We have partnered with them in order to do a concert series. We have partnered with the city on a couple of different occasions. We took the lead on the Kansas Aviation Association conference that came to town. That was 80 to 100 people. We took the lead, really facilitated and drove that entire process, finally turning it over to the event center and to the hotels to do what they do. As it relates to Main Street, a couple of larger projects that we're working on, we have taken the lead on a redesign, a relook at what everyone would call the cap of the mall. We are now finding people that use that term, so we don't use it anymore.
Cap of no mall.
Cap of no mall. Thinking about rebranding it and rethinking its purpose. So the city hired someone that we were driven to out of Olathe that does urban design, placemaking design, and they are putting together. We had a stakeholders meeting with them. We've partnered with Atchison Art Association, downtown businesses, downtown property owners, Atchison United, and crafted this group that would kind of take a fresh look at it and see how we take that space, which is a really cool asset, and make it a better utilized asset. It was kind of undervalued. It really didn't get, as Commissioner Rivas knows, it really didn't get touched during the commercial street renovation. So really thinking about it as an opportunity to create placemaking and really a public gathering space. We've held some of our concerts down there, which has been really cool to see it activated. Art Association obviously has pieces of art down there. We're collaborating with them to not only to utilize that space, but also to drive art into downtown, which is a design tool that we can use through Kansas Main Street to really visually draw somebody up and down Commercial Street. Because right now we've kind of got a couple of deserts within Commercial Street where, it doesn't look like there's much retail going on. 600 block, where someone's down, let's say at Presley's, we're trying to get them up to Purveyor. How do you do that? If they start to walk up and they go, wait, all I see is a hardware store. Maybe a design element like public art would help draw them down the path. So we're using that and have taken the lead on that. The other thing that I think that we're doing that really, I think, has a draw for all of Atchison, including Atchison County, is we are doing through Kansas Main Street, through Main Street America. Jill and I went to a conference for Main Street America and really focused in on entrepreneurial ecosystem building. And that's the concept of nurturing and growing entrepreneurs within your own community, which I think is essential for any small community. I've had experience doing it in other places, but it's really, really important. We're not big enough to draw major retailers or anything like that. We have to grow our own. And I think one of the things that we haven't done a good job of that we need to is to build that pipeline. And that starts in high school. So we're thinking about entrepreneurial classes in partnerships with the high schools throughout the county to do entrepreneurial classes, to do a pitch competition, you know, to really get them thinking about being an entrepreneur. We've also purchased a new software tool called Placer AI, which is just going to be another tool for us in our data gathering. We gather a lot of data already, and we're using that. We're weaponizing that to do our marketing. But Placer takes it just to another level. It's a technology based on cell phones, which it's reasonably scary because we can track. Like for Muddy River last year, we did a demo for Muddy River, and we can tell you the exact number of people that were at the river on that specific date for that period of time. We can tell you where they came from.
The number of cell phones.
The number of cell phones, which is the number of people. And we can track where they came from and where they went. It's amazing technology. It will be data that will allow us to help our retailers, to help you as county officials, as city officials, and as outlying areas. Hey, how did the 4-H fair? How many people were there? You know, we would be able to track all of that information and be able to hand that over to event planners, to elected officials, to if we're looking to attract someone, or we're looking at an entrepreneur is looking at a new business and say, well, what's the traffic flow here during, you know, this particular time? We can give those kinds of details. So again, using data as a powerful tool in our toolbox to drive economic development. So that's one of the things that we're continuing to do. It's evolving. I just recently went to a entrepreneurial ecosystem building conference that Kansas Main Street and Main Street America put on, where we are going to be applying for a grant from Main Street America to be there are going to be 3 awardees in the state of Kansas for a partnership with Main Street America to help build out an ecosystem, an entrepreneurial ecosystem. So we're going to be aggressively pursuing that. So we've partnered with Benedictine on their on our request. The Career Center for Entrepreneurial Services became a Kauffman affiliate on Fast Track. So we are able to offer entrepreneurial classes, which is one component to the ecosystem. And then, you know, again, pitch competitions. Main Street America has this really cute phrase. They call it R&D, right? We all know what that is, rip off and duplicate. So Emporia does a really good job at these pitch competitions. So we're Joe actually going down there just to pick their brain. We've already done it a couple of times at conferences, but really to go down there and watch it, see it come to life. They have a really kind of a couple of cool ways that they do it. So again, looking for every opportunity to do what's in the best interest of the community. So excited about the future. Happy to answer any questions.
Eric, do you have any questions?
I didn't actually see the request amount. Maybe I'm not looking in the right spot.
15,000, the same as last year. We're not asking
Same.
for any. Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sure Evis, did you have any
I
questions?
don't think so. I just have one little Sort of off subject. Several years ago, we tried to get an incubator going and for many reasons didn't succeed to get started. Is there any thought about?
Yes, we're actually having conversations with a building owner about that very thought.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one of the things that another piece of that Emporia does really well. That's part of the ecosystem building. And we're having conversations with someone that is interested in the concept. We're just trying to work through what that would look like. Usually it's a zero, cost of entry or nominal, cost of entry, and then it escalates over time. So we're just trying to work through those details. Building the pipeline is really important to have that, right? And that would be part of that process, is like getting people. We all know that there are people in our community, right, that are interested in starting a business. It's getting them from that home business mindset into either brick and mortar, or at least expanding that home business where it becomes something that's viable and larger and could impact the local economy. So absolutely, it's a great point.
So you've been to the one in Pittsburgh?
No,
I've been there. It is impressive.
Emporia has an amazing incubator, and actually they got into like a maker, more maker-oriented, manufacturing-oriented.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has both. There's like an office kind of environment. There's also a shop in there.
Yeah.
So if you have a chance to visit that,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's. I know I've got some contacts down there.
Mhm.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Have you had good
And I actually know the city manager down there.
Oh,
Work for us.
feedback from the schools about this?
Yeah, so they're
I mean,
excited. Yes.
I think it's incredible, energizing the kids at a younger age, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Basically Highland as well.
We haven't talked to Benedictine because they kind of do. I know Benedictine gets their own little thing. Network Kansas has a youth entrepreneurial YEC competition template. So we're talking to them. One of the things that is interesting, and we'll do that. One of the things that Emporia found was that they would use all of this energy to go raise money to do this competition. And they said all of their prize money went to Cancun as opposed to opening a business. And so while you're getting that in the head of the high schooler, our first blush is to try and get people who are interested in actually opening a business first and foremost.
Yep.
And then dialing back, in starting it earlier so that we at least, put it in the back of their head that my experience speaking to a lot of young people over the course of my elected life was, you have a lot of these kids that, I want to be a welder, I want to be a, body shop, or I want to do this or that. Yeah. We still have to have a business background, right? And you're still opening a business and you still have to think like an entrepreneur, and you may know how to do X really, really well, but you also know how to do accounting and marketing and all of the things that it takes.
Right.
So you can be a really good dentist, but if you can't get anybody in the door, it doesn't matter, right? So that's what we're kind of focusing in on is, there are lots of trade schools and things that you can do as a skill, but also gaining that entrepreneurial skill set in order to successfully do the trade. I think it's extremely important.
absolutely.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you guys
Appreciate
for
it.
joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You had asked that for the commission that I talked about your obligation to provide funding for this. By statute, the Board of County Commissioners has the authority, but not the obligation, to provide financing for economic development and tourism. So they're both allowed things to provide funding for. You're not under an obligation. There's no specific amount that's set or even requirement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to fund it more, we can find it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
I have Atchison Sports Complex request for payment. This request for payment is for the Kansas sales tax revenue bonds, third supplemental bond trust indenture dated January 24th, 2023. The payee is Larry Service Construction for the new parking lot grading and leveling lot and gravel in the amount of $7,400.
Did you say January?
So that's when we did the bond trust indenture to allow the money to go, and then they're turning in the receipts of the work done.
Okay, I thought it
Yeah.
sounded like the work was being done in January.
Gotcha. No, the work, the receipt is June 20th of 2023, that it was completed. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
I went over and checked it out. So they did a really nice job.
That's
and,
awesome.
They really needed to have better access over there.
Yes.
You do not have to do this today. This was just brought to me yesterday by Scott. This is the rock for the parking lot.
Oh,
I thought maybe we could just sneak it
yep,
right in.
absolutely.
So that's.
Yep. Rocked.
for-
Yep.
I thought there was a missing component there when I got the first
Sorry.
one, so
Nope, absolutely.
thank you.
Okay, so I would look for a motion to approve request for payment to Service Excavating LLC for rock and delivery in the amount of $15,543.
So move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Thank you. Okay, we have a few minutes. Do we want to talk about the Abraham Lincoln statue? Did you put that on there, Eric?
Yes, I did, because I know we'd discussed it some before. And I would just have a feeling that this is one of those things that could get dropped, because I think it's very important that we do carry insurance on it, or insurance is carried on it. And I guess the most likely place is that will be a county responsibility. It is on our property. The letter from David Luke, or insurance for K.S.A. Stated that we both needed a value placed on it and some kind of, I don't know if you wouldn't say title, but some kind of assurance that it is county property for them to insure it. So I actually, not knowing that I would run into this, last night I went to the Farm Bureau supper and ran into Representative Epley, and I was discussing this with him. He got on the phone with Rick Berger, who is instrumental in with the Courtney Trust and the funding for the statue. And so he's kind of made some inquiries on this as to how, and Pat, maybe this is what would be required. I mean, there isn't a title or anything. Is there something that they could, like a letter to bequeath it to the county, or how would that work?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that really should be considered, and we should get the answers to now, I guess, before there's a problem. But and the first of them is title. There's, under our agreement with K.S.A., there are two ways that we could provide insurance coverage for it. One is if the county owns it. So if it's given to us, that would be one way it would be covered. Another is that we have some agreement in place that it belongs to somebody else, but that we will provide maintenance for it, care for it, and provide insurance. And that would give us a sufficient insurable interest in it that we could provide, that it would be covered, or it could be covered. There are, when you're dealing with art, there are problems with, or challenges with determining value, because fair market value of art is really hard to determine, because there's a relatively small number of people that are interested in having a 7-foot statue of anything, anywhere, and particularly one that's permanently mounted somewhere. And that's also the case with something like a fresco that's a mural that's built into a building and can't be moved, so it really doesn't have a market value, because it isn't likely, can't be sold really. But anyway, I'm confident that the insurance companies can come up with a way, and the art community can come up with a way of doing evaluation.
So Pat, I have a question. What would suffice to, since there isn't a title, I mean, I don't even know who actually owns it for them to give it to us.
Yeah, I share that. And I was talking with Commissioner Rivas before the meeting that one of his initial emails indicated that Alita Haug was donating the statue, but it didn't say to whom she was donating it. And I don't even know if that was something that was thought about. Is she donating it to the Art Association? Is she donating it to the citizens?
It is a
of the
person
world?
donating.
And yeah, and I don't know that either.
I mean, I don't mean this to sound like we are demanding the title, or that it is us, but I don't know who, and I didn't even think of having an agreement with like the Art Association if they want to retain ownership. I just know that this is one of those things that if it don't get done, and like you said in a previous meeting, Pat, that in 10 years, 20 years, people aren't going to be able to find any record of this. So I think we need to get it some kind of something in the minutes that we have ownership or who owns it and gets insurance on it. So that's the only reason I'm kind of trying to facilitate this.
You're absolutely right about that. And also needs to address things about who has the rights to use pictures of it, or the artist generally maintains copyright over it. She would have the ability, if she wanted to make miniatures to sell and things like that. But I think we would want to make sure that we were clear that we could use photos of it in connection with a photo of the courthouse, for example, or any of our marketing materials, things like that. So I have not started the discussion with everybody that's involved with it. I suspect the Courtney Turner Trust does not want to own the artwork for a long period of time, but I don't know that for sure. And maybe they do. But we definitely need to get all of those things figured out. So I talked with Commissioner Rivas a little before, and between the two of us, I think we'll reach out to everybody involved to kind of get their feedback and their expectations. And I think we'd be able to reach an agreement that's going to meet everybody's needs.
Okay, so you and Alan are going to take the lead. I mean, this was kind of Alan's project, and I didn't mean to step on any toes or anything
It's a good
by
point.
doing it, but like I say, I just had that feeling that this needed to be investigated a little further, so I put it on the agenda and happened to run into Representative Epley last night, who's been assisting. So I would keep both him and Rick. I know Rick will be in the loop, but keep Mr. Epley, Representative Epley, in on the loop, since he's been kind of involved by me. So he kind of knows what's going on. He thought it was worthwhile.
I know like Wichita has a lot of public art. The city of Atchison has some public art that's been put on city right of ways. So I think it's not going to be too difficult to find out how they've handled that and what works. We can get some letter from Courtney Turner Trust, I'm sure, to clarify their intentions. So.
Well, it's kind of interesting to me because I had never thought about, like artwork. It has no title, what suffices to prove it's yours, or, or not, but, and how those agreements would need to be forged before you could even get insurance on it. So it's kind of a new twist on things. So we're always learning here.
I did send out emails to all of you. I do know that David Luke, he's the administrator with, and the CEO of K.S.A. He made comment in his email, as far as placing the value on it, that he does, he can obtain a resource to do that in regards to this type of. If it's something that we find that we have an insurable interest for. That there has been a lot of traffic in regards to driving by, looking at the statue, a lot of people getting out of their vehicles, taking photos with the statue, so it's quite a big deal.
Well,
Nice addition to the courthouse.
Awesome.
I think which is our main goal, because I know Eric brought it to my attention, is just to protect it.
Okay. Wes, are you coming in here or are you going to be on Zoom? Okay, we have Wes Lanter, Emergency Management IT Director, purchase order approval for Unity Sand Storage upgrade.
Good morning.
Morning.
So before you is a PO to Converge One for 4 1.92 terabyte flash SSD hard drives. This is for the new SAN that we purchased late last year that we just got installed. Since we did that project, we've added several servers for the register of deeds and county attorneys, so our space requirement has grown. So for those 4 terabyte or 4 hard drives, it's $4,748.94. And that includes all kinds of 3-year warranties for on-site next business day. So if one of those hard drives should fail, just like the hard drive did have failed last year, but they'll come in and replace it. Questions?
So I was just looking because we just had spent the $53,042.82 when we upgraded.
Correct.
And within that was the 1.92 terabyte flash drives with that 3-year service.
Yep.
So just curious what's changed since then. And we're talking about also like pulling Senior Village off and joint communications with the sheriff, like
So none of
all
those
of
touch
those.
this.
Okay, so
Um,
what are we, what's
added-
different?
We added, so that is what we're gonna add these to. We added the new software for the county attorney's office, and we put everything that they had on our file system, which before was all in paper boxes, and
Okay.
now it's all electronic.
So when they're doing their scanning projects, that's
So
gonna
that went
increase.
in there, and all their evidence that they scan in, everything.
So when the courts are getting ready to scan all theirs,
So
in
courts, the
will
separate.
be separate as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
even though they're doing the
Yeah.
project.
So
That's
we
just,
do the court's user files, but all of their software for their court system is actually hosted by the state. So their user files on their computers and their shared files, we do those. But all the documents that go into the new court software that I can't spit out at this present moment in time, that's all hosted by the state. So when this was laid out, we did not add the new server for register of deeds or the new server for county attorney. So that's why the increase is happening in those 2 offices.
As county attorney still scanning, is there more documents to scan in as far as
Well, no,
old stuff?
So all of their stuff is scanned in now. But
Okay.
each case that they have now, they're storing their evidence.
Right.
And that's just gonna.
The register of deeds, that still has a lot of paper records, scanning, Is that all going in?
I think Register of Deeds has everything scanned now. I thought when they switched to Fiddler, the Fiddler came in.
So moving
I might be wrong.
forward, they're done. They're just
Yeah.
adding new. Okay.
Correct.
So they make you pay for the pro support on each additional item.
That's. You don't have a choice, because if you go buy, I could go buy a 2 terabyte hard drive off of Amazon for $50, but then A, it won't fit into the device, and B, it would be supported by Dell, which is who makes the device.
Are we happy with Dell? The reason I ask is from when we were down for so many days and communicating with the folks in India and all the things like.
Typically, yes. That device was 9 years old and should have been replaced prior to when we did. The new one is a much faster, much better setup. And for an agency our size, it's the best we can afford. No, I would love to have a much better system, but I don't want to spend the county tax dollars on a more expensive option that would be, twice as expensive as what we're paying now.
So is this in your 2023 budget?
Mhm.
But you didn't plan for it?
No.
So is it being taken out of a?
Capital outlay.
Okay. And speaking of tax dollars, there were some items that we had saved or that like POs that we had signed off on for savings, and I was just curious. I haven't been able to locate where that savings is, so I just want to make sure that I understand. Like a $5,000 wasn't budgeted for, but there's cap outlay.
Because we have 15,000 unexpected in the budget.
Okay. So on like the phones, when we switch from AT&T to Rainbow, it was like a $8,500 savings. Is that notated? Because I didn't see it, the savings anywhere.
So we just finally shut off AT&T last month
Yep.
because we had to wait for the transition. So you will start seeing the lesser amount starting after June 20th. That's supposed to be the final billing cycle.
And that'll be then updated in the 2024 budget.
Yes.
And then we had done a purchase order for the email project. We did it November of 2022 for a $40,000 savings.
Mhm.
And I was just wondering,
That would be over a 4-year plan, over a 4-year computer replacement cycle is where you get savings from. So instead of spending $350 per computer for Microsoft Office Pro, you're going to spend $13 per employee per month, which is far cheaper.
so will that be reflected in the IT budget or
Yes.
in everybody else in the IT budget?
Well, so you'll see the expense in the IT budget because we threw all of it together, so we don't have to break it out by department. But you'll see the savings in each of the different departments' budgets because they won't be spending $400 per computer on their computer replacement cycle.
Okay, do they know that? Are they aware of that? Okay. And then we did one September for 65,000 savings, 500 per computer for 130 computers for CIC moving from access-based to web-based. Have we done that?
So the company has not yet. CIC is, with all their issues that they had this year, have not started the switching, the meetings where they redesign and switch to web-based.
Is there a time frame on that?
Well, it was supposed to start in January, and they have yet to call the first meeting.
So what is that implementation like on that? When you're to implement that, what is that going to take? Is that going to interrupt service or, going
No.
from one to the other?
No, what would happen is we would, they'll start the process, we'll do meetings with all of the, they call them, what do they call them? The people that they choose, yeah, but I mean, the people that they choose to be on that committee, they chose me to be on there.
Steering committee?
They have a specific title. So there was several of us that were supposed to show up in Greeley, Colorado in January. And we were going to start the process of what we liked, what we didn't like, what we wanted to see changed with CIC for them moving forward. And then they were going to pay their programmers to take what they have with the changes that were suggested and then start building the software. But they haven't started that yet. So we have no, we can't control them.
Okay.
And so to answer your question, because I didn't, so we'll stay on what we have until they come out with the new web-based design. We will still host in-house because we don't want to be in the situation where the counties were that have them host and they didn't have any computers for 3 weeks at a time because they couldn't do payroll, collect taxes, accounts payable, nothing during that time. We'll still host in-house, just like Mr.
Was saying,
was saying. Yeah. But when was that one? Just so the appeal that you were asking about was switching.
in September. I was just looking, because now that we're going through the budget seasons, it's like you're looking at the budget year to year, but not seeing the savings that we signed off on, so. Do you think that as much as we do with Converge One, that they would be willing to? I mean,
I already got a discount. The original appeal was 6,000 and they
Okay.
dropped it down to the 47.
so the pro support, mission critical tech support for 3 years
That's
is
Dell.
On-
That's them passing through. So
on
they're
every
pre-
single
I
order.
know, they're a preferred partner, and so we actually get, instead of going directly with Dell, since they're a preferred partner and we're only a premier partner, they get a better discount than we do. So then we order it through them and they pass the discount on to us.
So as far as storage, this is needed for those two departments specific or
Well,
overall?
those are what made us get above what we're capable of. Currently, we only have 12 terabytes of storage. The device is capable of 48 terabytes of storage, but we only have 12.
Okay,
So those are what put us over our limit. All of your offices are going to continue to increase as we save everything electronically.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not their fault, but they're the ones that made the bump
got it.
to get us over our.
Is Senior Village part of this?
Yeah, but most of Senior Village is done through point-click care. And so there's no data backup because point-click care backs that up, not us.
Okay,
So Senior Village is very minimal when it comes to, I mean, you're talking. I'm guessing without knowing, without looking, less than 10 gig for the whole department.
all right, do we have any other questions?
No, I don't think so.
Eric?
No,
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve purchase order to Converge One for IT in the amount of $4,748.94 for a 1.92 terabyte flash SSD hard drive for the Unity Sandell warranty, pro support, mission critical 4-hour 7x24 on-site support with emergency dispatch?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0. Can I ask one more question?
Mhm.
On the on-site support, they're out of Minneapolis. Do they come here?
So, like I said, Converge just passes it through us. Dell is actually what we call whenever we have an issue. So they will come here. They have company or they have companies around the state of Kansas that they contract with. And so when we had our problem last time, one company was out of Lee Summit, Missouri, and the other one was out of Wichita, and they both drove.
Came on site. Got it.
And then I talked to like we discussed, I talked to people in India and Australia and some in the United States, but most of them were overseas because we were after, not between 8 and 5.
Right.
Right.
So we talked to people overseas in that case.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank you.
that's all I have.
Thank you.
Unless you have anything else.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay. So we have about an hour until Mr. Tolliver with the fairs here. We want to talk about, I know Mark had sent us some very insightful information as far as the budget and where the R&R that Michelle provided to us last week. Did you want to go over any of that, Mark, or I can just explain?
You
what-
can summarize it. if
Yep,
you'd like.
absolutely. The R&R in mills was 47.093 based on the revenue generated. So the valuations are obviously up. Everybody knows that because they got their valuation notices in the mail. The total levy with budget requests, the same appropriation numbers, an extension, council, noxious weed, and home for the aged. We are at 61.246 mils. So this is over the R&R rate by 14.153 mils. And each mill is $214,073, which puts us over budget, $3,029,775. So a lot of work to be done on our end. Thank you for this thorough information. It's helpful,
Yes.
very helpful. Also, I just wanted to make sure, let's see. Michelle, have you moved forward with our intent to exceed the R&R?
That's something that I need signatures for, but I need to know what you're looking at, max going over. So I can talk to Mark.
Oh, you have to have the estimation. We can't just pass the intent to
I
exceed.
can put it in as what you have now. Oh,
So, yeah, that's a good question, because I'm not okay with this number. And I was like, if we're publishing our intent and it's this number, like, no, I can't get on board with that, so. So you have to know,
You have until, I think it's July 20th.
okay,
to inform me one way or the other.
and we've asked all of our department heads to look at, and elected officials to look where they can cut. And HR is the only one I've received back. Is that what you guys have? Okay.
Westlander sent an email to me of his budget, where he could or could not.
Okay.
Cut, so I can forward that on to the commission.
Okay. Okay, so Michelle, in order to do the intent to exceed R&R, you need to know from us.
By July 20th.
Well,
That was my question. July 20th?
But then it says county clerk will notify taxpayers via mail, email, all taxing subdivision exceeding R&R 10 days prior to first hearing.
August.
Sooner than July 20th, would be much helpful.
Oh, yes, definitely. I have the fillable form, and basically it's asking, I mean, a lot of information as far as that you intend to exceed, that the proposed mill rate is going to be set at
Yeah.
such, the date of the hearing, where it's going to be held at. So that's the information that I would need.
well, so if I mean, this is what department heads and electeds are giving us in appropriations. I say we publish this and people come and I mean, we're here to represent them, so that way we can get it going and the public knows where we fall and.
So then you have to do your publication the 10 days before we actually hold our.
I would have to do the mass mailing to every taxpayer in the county.
That has to go
But
first.
that's everybody. That has to be out by the 10th of August. Because the first date for hearings can be the 20th of August. So I have to have that from every entity and out by the 10th of August.
So you won't be just sending ours out. You wait
No, it's
for,
going to have, it has to have.
you have to
every
wait for
entity.
everybody.
If somebody doesn't get it to you in time, you still will know.
If somebody doesn't get it to me in time this year, they're going to be set at R&R rate. They will not be able to exceed.
Okay.
So They're just going to be set at R&R. And that's all we can do.
You said that date is August 10th? I'm sorry.
Pardon, I'm sorry, what did you say?
You say that date is August 10th?
That's the date that the mailings have to be out. Because the 20th is the date that the first hearing can be had. As far as publication, if the Atchison County is wanting to do their hearing on the 20th of August, we would have to have it out by the 10th in the paper. So depending upon whatever Saturday that is before that, we'll have to.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a cycle.
So we have to have at least. Saturday, Friday. Having a hard time getting used to
So
that.
August 5th is a Saturday, so typically July 29th.
The fourth, August 4th is when we would have to put it in the book.
But not,
So-
that's not 10 days before August 10th.
No, we can't hold the hearing until the 20th for county. But the information that would be published on the 4th in the Globe will be the same information that will be on the notice that will be mailed out.
Okay, so if we tell you today that so far, based on all of our budget hearings, the intent is 61.246 mils, then you will take that down. And then every taxing entity that's gonna exceed will get you their numbers
Mhm.
prior
Mhm.
to July 20th.
Correct.
And you'll publish them all at that moment,
It'll all be on one notification.
one notification, and then we choose our date of when our hearing will be.
It will have to be on that publication.
So we choose a date between August 20th and September 20th to hold our hearing.
Right.
So we've notified the public, this is what we're, this is what we have.
Mhm.
This is when our hearing is, and then that gives us until what day, until October 1st to formally adopt what our final verdict is. Like, I'm just curious how much more work, when the public has the opportunity to weigh in on this. Because
We are going to be exceeding the R&R. So we're going to be using this budget information. Is that the one you're looking at?
yeah,
Okay.
governing body passes resolution to exceed R&R, records roll call for governing body vote, and then formally adopts the budget sometime between August 20th and October 1st.
If we lower the mill
Mhm.
from the 61 to something else, like
Right.
58 or
And that's going
whatever,
to be perfectly fine.
that's fine.
What we need to do is we need to have the max. So you can't go higher than what you publish.
We-
You can definitely go lower.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
And that's
Okay.
what I was thinking. If we go ahead and tell her the intent based on what you've put together.
Well, I don't think we should go higher than that.
No, absolutely not. But like, we have no, like this sets the bar and we have our goal.
Right.
And now, like, we
Okay.
chisel down to,
And depending upon, like I said, I explained previously, depending upon what the final value is in October, November, when we are setting the levies in concrete and preparing tax statements, depending upon what that levy does, because there's going to be changes between here and then with vehicles and hearings and such. Depending upon what that value does, I cannot raise the value above what you put. So like the R&R, that's why a lot of entities, they kind of try to get you to go ahead and have that R&R hearing. Because if that value changes too much, then your levy could go up just a little bit to produce that R&R. The R&R rate could change depending upon the value, the final value.
Right.
So, but if you did go above that R&R, that initial R&R that's set is the R&R.
okay.
You sent me a form, or going to send me a form, and then we just fill it out and get it back to
You'll
you.
have it signed.
So do we need to make that formal motion then probably to sign a form for you? Is that correct? Okay. And I know we were talking about just ways of getting information out to the public. And like last year, we had the flyer that we handed out at the fair and talking about like with this timeline, the fair would be a great place to have a booth to let taxpayers be able to see, you know, the budget information. And do you publish this information for people that understand what they're or not?
I don't, I mean, whatever you submit is a legal notice.
That might
Should
be helpful
published,
too.
you know.
Because like for the people that have said, well, nobody ever comes and protests or comes to the hearing, it's because they don't know what they're talking, like they don't have this information. So if there's a way to get the information out to people, I think it's helpful because then they can ask questions if they have what they need to. And for me, it's helpful to hear from them when there's $3 million over of there's gonna be cuts made and people aren't gonna be happy, but that's the job that we have to do. So hearing from constituents is always helpful.
On this form, does pretty much need to do anything with it, or I just fill it out with the back piece?
That would be very interesting.
Perfect.
We sign a signature.
So basically, the form is just saying, yes, we intend to exceed it. This is the date of our hearing, where it will be held at, and what the middle is that we're proposing. So I don't know if we want to do that.
And that rate published is the maximum you could go. You could go less, but you can't go more.
Correct.
I'm just processing.
Well, it's really that rate is just generated based on the requests that we've gotten so far.
Right.
Yeah, it's not that we're setting a max. It is what it is based on what everybody's came to us and asked for 2024. So
Mhm.
if
And it's the same appropriation amounts as this year, and just as a basis to go off of. And then whatever the department's requests are. So that's what filling every appropriation as last year and then whatever.
this is definitely a year commissioners are feeling it. I know at the Kansas County Commission Association, I mean, they just drill down like, this is not the fun part, but you have to align your needs with your services to the constituents and have hard conversations and make difficult decisions and change and all the things. So I think that
So our hearing has to be by August 20th or on,
August 20th or after.
or after.
August
Is-
20th is the first date set in the budget timeline or the R&R timeline.
Yeah.
That
That's
hearings
a-
can
that's
be
a
held.
Sunday, so obviously.
So,
Right.
so is it appropriate that we can maybe pick a date?
That's
And
what
then
I'm-
right now,
Yeah.
you'll know when you need to get it to the paper or whatever. Is that
Yes.
okay?
That's what I was looking at. So
So August 22nd is the first Tuesday after that 20th date.
that makes sense.
Is there a date you have to have it by? I mean, does it help to postpone it any or?
August 20th through September 20th is the date range. When entities are exceeding the R&R.
Well, we'll know better later in September. What's the deadline to get the final numbers?
The final two passing resolution and certifying county clerk is October 1st.
Oh, okay, so September,
So-
okay.
I mean, if you'd like to just. Maybe we'll know more in the next couple commissioner meetings of a budget to have a better. Number, I don't know.
so it's hard for me to see that we're gonna know more
Mhm.
than we do right now,
Yeah.
because unless we're willing to go through and say, oh, this is discretionary, cut all the appropriations. Oh, we're sorry, you want to do this, but we're cutting it, like,
Right.
It's-
No,
it's-
I agree. I was,
it's like, this is what we are being asked for, this is what we're being asked for, and now it's the public's job to like
Mhm.
guide us in how this is going to look, because,
Right.
I mean, I have ideas of how we can cut, but
so August 22nd should work. far as I'm concerned, the next week I'm over this August 29th.
Okay, so that's when our hearing will be.
Yes.
August 22nd.
Yes.
That's great to have that on the calendar. And we're going to do that at just our,
You're gonna go ahead and plan the R&R hearing and the budget hearing at that point.
we're having our hearing that
Sure.
day.
Just the R&R hearing, is that
So-
okay?
That's perfectly fine.
Because the budget, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just curious. So
The
would it be
budget-
better to have the R&R hearing at a time when constituents can join us, like an evening? I'm just asking, because if we want public input and we're $3 million over, sometimes the feedback I've gotten is, I can't take off work to come to your 10 a.m. meeting on a Tuesday. So that's just, I'm just throwing it out there. I mean,
I think maybe if you want public input, after hours is probably better when people aren't working.
Would you like to do a 4 o'clock meeting, something like that, even maybe late afternoon?
is probably sticking on the Tuesday best for you if we do that, Eric? That's way one time in town.
Although if we're gonna wait real late, I mean, I probably wouldn't stay, after a 2 o'clock meeting till 4 to,
Right.
it wouldn't help. So
Okay,
it wouldn't necessarily have to be on a Tuesday. I'm just,
okay.
I'm not saying it couldn't. I'm just,
Later.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It could be
Could we just
labeled as a
start it-
special meeting,
We could start at 1 and then go into like, that way he one trip in and we start later after lunch, and that's a great
Start
idea.
at 1 or 2 and then just have a meeting till 6.
that
Yeah.
would be preferable to
That sounds great.
to keep everything consistent and closer together.
And the hearing could be at
That's
5
fantastic.
or
We could
whatever.
put it on an agenda at a time.
Okay,
So you
So-
still wanna go with the 22nd?
that sounds good. Our
Just with 2 to 6. and the
2
hearing
to
at
6,
5.
yep, that sounds great.
What can we do budget and our hearing together? I mean, is there any reason? why we
Most
can't?
entities do. You just
Yeah.
have to hold the R&R hearing first. Talk to anyone present, let them voice their concerns. With the R&R hearing, the information that we have received as clerks, basically is the entity does not have to lower just because there may be someone present. They need to hear their concerns,
Yep.
let them voice their concerns, but then they still need to do what they feel in their heart is right.
Yep.
So if we have a cemetery and they need to go above because they don't have rock and they have, somebody at a funeral gets stuck, they need rock, they're gonna have to go above and beyond their budget. They're gonna have to increase their R&R for the services of that cemetery.
Yep.
So they don't have to lower just because they have people there stating, but I don't have anybody buried there and I'm in your district. I mean, they have to do what's right.
Yep.
So they don't have to lower their levy just because there's constituents there. But most people go ahead and have that R&R hearing and then they jump right into their budget hearing. So.
Okay, so am I correct that there is a time, and is that generated, for the public to petition to go to an election? And that would be generated by the mailers? Is that correct? Where does that fit into the timeline?
Let's get petition for election.
Re-say that one more time, Eric, I'm sorry.
Well, the public has an opportunity to take it to, if they don't like the figures, they can take it to an election. Is that correct?
And that, I believe, is with the cap, and that is no longer an item. The budget cap. It
Okay,
is not
so
an
that's, all right. Thank you, because I was thinking that was still in play and that we may still have that hurdle to jump over, because that had been in effect. It was basically, we notified the public and then they could force it to an election, and that was going to force everything late and maybe even still make us cut back.
So the hearing is just the time for feedback, and then we will still have time to then come back to the drawing board amongst ourselves after we listen, take it all in of what, and then be able to make adjustments. And I would like to see, I think that this information should be as open to the public as possible. And I mean, it is what it is. And then those the people representing like the appropriations and our departments and elected officials can be present. That way, if there's question, concern, I mean, they're the ones asking for it and know, it's county tax dollars. So I think that would be very helpful. And in the meantime, hopefully departments will look at their budgets, and we've given them that opportunity. Now it's up to us to.
Going from a 2 PM to 6 PM meeting time, do you want any work session hour prior? Do you want the 1 to 2 as work session like you do currently? Do you want 2 to 3 as work session? Do you not want that work session that day? How do you want to handle?
It doesn't matter to me. Eric, what do you think?
I think it's pretty popular. I mean, that's what it seemed like we have a full hour when we do that. So I would still keep it. Probably 1 to 2 work session and then. And how late did we actually want the R&R hearing? Do we want that to start at 4 or do we want that to start at 5? I mean, and I think we need to back these timelines up.
5 to 6.
5, that way, I think that takes care of the argument of after work. I mean,
Yep,
most
I
folks-
agree.
Okay.
And they can plan on, I mean, we'll put it
Yeah.
out that you get
Okay,
legal.
I didn't follow because I know we had discussed 4 was mentioned earlier and I just wanted to make sure. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can back that timeline up then from that time and have meeting as usual with the 1 hour workshop.
Sounds good.
1 to 2 work session, 2 to 6 is the meeting, R&R hearing to be held at 5. Location. You are expecting a lot of people. Would you want to hold it somewhere other than here?
Well,
Yeah. Eric's like, yes, I think so too. We could do it at the
Parking.
Memorial Hall like we did when we
Oh.
did the town hall. That was perfect. We set up the
okay, just go to the courtroom if you need to at the courthouse. I mean, if we're at the courthouse, can we just,
We would have to verify with district court, but it is an option, yes.
I mean, we were meeting in our commission room, we could just go upstairs if we had to.
the only thing is, do we want people? I don't know if it's okay to have that many people there roaming around when after hours or not. I don't know.
I don't know why not. They've done that before, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that, I don't think it'd be a
parking
problem.
piece.
Yeah, I
The
just know.
parking piece might not be great either. Like Memorial Hall had that back parking lot and then the whole front area, if that would be available.
You expect to really have much of a crowd? Honestly.
I mean, I would hope so. People.
Well,
I
in a
think
way,
if we
I hope
put the
so, yeah,
information out
no.
to the people, I mean, this is their opportunity to have their voice be heard. I mean,
Yeah. Whatever. 13 years of the city, I think we had maybe one person ever show up for any kind of bunch of stuff. I mean, I don't know, it's just,
It is something
if we leave
that
it at 61, yeah, but it's not gonna be there, so.
the reason it was created was to get more input from
Yep.
the taxpayers.
Sure.
We have the budget hearing, which was supposed to do that, but now we have 2 hearings, which most people hold consecutively in the same day. So I don't know. I'm sure if you gave information at the fair and even asked for an article or legal, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to get it out there. Website, Facebook, I don't really know.
we should have sent it with evaluation notices. Because that caught people's attention.
We can always add, because we will have the R&R notices that will be going out by the 10th of August. We can always add something to that. But we'll have to, I mean,
Oh, that's a good idea. So like, just like a little in it about when this is so that they can come.
we would need roughly 10,000 copies.
Well, question on all the other entities exceeding, like they'll have their own hearings.
They'll
at
have their own
separate
hearings,
dates.
correct.
Okay,
And all of the different hearing dates and times
Yep.
will be
on that.
on that, yes.
Okay.
So.
Perfect.
They But it's only going to give you the entities that create your levy. You're not going to know the other cemeteries and fire districts and townships. You're only gonna know your cemetery district, your fire district, your township, county,
Got it.
school district. So it divvies just similar to an actual tax statement that has, these are the levies that are set for your districts, your entities. So that's the information that will roughly be on the notices.
Okay.
Which we got a lot of phone calls saying, but how much do I owe? Because it looks similar to a tax statement.
So we thinking Memorial Hall.
I can get a hold of Scott,
Is that okay with you, Eric?
verify that time.
Yeah, either location's fine, but we need to verify that it's open that day. So if one doesn't work and the other one does, I'm fine with either.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
same way.
Same.
So we would meet at our commission room until at some time that we move down there, or we're all the whole meeting.
Probably the whole meeting.
Okay,
Do you want to do the Zoom feature down there?
sure.
So we'll need an IT professional to help us with that probably, but something set up.
That's another factor we have to figure in where it's easier. Or we just have all that new video stuff all installed, so.
Yeah, maybe that's a logistical question for Michelle. Is it easier?
To
Like
do it
do
there.
that from the courthouse than from Memorial Hall? I mean,
As far as the
Like the Zoom and the
Zoom?
screen and
The
the
Zoom.
Zoom would all be set up.
that, I have no problem with it. It's basically gonna be an IT thing because they will have everything, that they'll be the ones to set up the machines and the projections or the cameras, the TVs, whatever, the monitors. So,
So the courthouse will be much easier place to do a Zoom than, we don't have high-speed internet at Memorial Hall. Yes, we can get it there, but I'm not sure it'll be good enough for a Zoom meeting.
So let's just do the courthouse.
check on availability, and if that don't work, could we even change our date if that date don't work for the courthouse? Okay,
Because we're gonna have to put a special meeting out anyway, so it'd just be,
Yeah, we have time to figure that out.
Yeah.
These are trial days.
I've heard it's a lot scheduled. For the trials.
there's the payroll sheet.
In the courthouse, yeah, somewhere.
Who confirms that? Like, Bria?
Michelle, were you gonna?
I'm emailing her.
Awesome. So, yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
in preparation for the Joe Tolliver from the Fair Board, did the commissioners get the email I forwarded with some pictures of the improvements they had done to the fairgrounds? I'd sent it last night. And I think it was from my CenturyLink account.
I haven't gotten it.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Coach Oliver did send me some pictures and things that I forwarded to you three. Is that the same ones you're talking about?
No, this was from Megan Kimmel, who had I'd talked to earlier when they were actually doing some work about a month ago on them. So she took a bunch of pictures. She had sent them to me, and then I forwarded them on. So I'll try that again.
I've seen some things on Facebook and such that it's just been a few pictures, so that's all I've seen. Yeah, they're getting- seeing it.
Yeah.
Said that it's not coming through.
I'm going to share some emails with you guys on my commissioner listserv. A commissioner asked about their budget process with valuations, and so I think it's interesting to read what other counties are doing. So I'm just going to send them to you guys so you can read them as well. No, yeah, it's just kind of cool to hear. No, I mean, it's just neat, the different ways of, and just like us, having that meeting at 5 o'clock, like we're tweaking things, but. When you were at the city, did the manager present and do it, or like make recommendations of cuts, or did the commission have to do it?
Well, each department starts out January, February, working on their budgets for the next year, and then internally, there's a lot of discussion on what to cut, not to cut.
Gotcha.
And then there were a bunch of workshops and set of goals and start prioritizing and moving things around.
Yep.
Similar to what we've done here, Officially, it's the city manager's budget when it's presented. We have, well, the trailers are being changed, but we used to have like 5 or 6 workshops. And they narrowed down to about 3 long ones.
Gotcha.
We got these pretty much on most budgets. Most departments. Yeah, a bunch. Yeah, they used to have a lot more than Kelly did, and then they skinnied it down. Too many workshops.
Well, they have a meal at every workshop. It's always kind of, they suggest that, but wish this, well, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be budgeted.
Yeah. Well, it's like you find out, like it was the police down there, they would decide you this. Well, there's not just grants for that stuff. Time to write, there's just a lot of all the things that go into it. In 08, 9, 10, it was very tight. Everybody's pretty good about really squeezing down and picking and choosing. After this year, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But last year, we were saddled with the rate, and so I think that was things put off from last year, so that's the challenge here, I think.
Good stuff, obviously.
So our workshop then will be regarding budget.
It's all about budget, yeah.
And we talked about having one sometime about the procurement policy. Did we want to set a date for that or get through the budget and then do that?
Well, we could probably get started on procurement. I mean, I think. We left that where we were just, Eric, we were talking a little bit about on the procurement policy. To have maybe more than one policy based on the departments, or maybe one general policy, but then have some more details for some certain departments, because they're not all like one size fits all.
Yeah. Can't see that we could come up with language that would go through, fit every department clear through.
I agree.
I don't know if any other counties have got anything like that, like a template for, your catching your general information, so it would catch most departments, and then a subset underneath that.
See the examples that were sent. I didn't remember. Sedgwick would be a big one. Let me see what there's.
Yeah, I think one policy is pretty much going to be all the standard things you need legally as far as processes. That needs to be one of them. What is an RFP and so on and so forth. But maybe in that policy, you just have a statement saying that additional procurement policies will apply to the following departments, subject to commission approval. And then list those departments.
So yeah, like in the Sedgwick, then they have,
That's what I was thinking. Was it like that? Sort of?
yeah, where it was talking about for construction related. They kind of outlined some of the things we talked about last week of specific.
Good examples like the session building out of the, or bathroom building out of the
Yep.
sports complex. That could be a policy of design build, to have a budgetary dollar amount.
Yeah.
And then that solves, not have to get all the other,
Yeah, see,
be an
they,
engineer or an architect or somebody to do a standard set of bathrooms.
so Sedgwick did like a template for competitive bidding and their purchasing requirements. And then they have a separate section of exceptions to this policy. So emergencies, joint governmental services, sheriff's office, insurance, legal services, major equipment repair, construction. Kind of like some of the things that we were discussing, so. Contracts for sale of goods and services.
It must have updated there since 2017, so perhaps it's still pretty appropriate.
Avoidance of split invoices.
We don't have a purchasing division or a purchasing director.
Yeah. I'm like, when you, we'll give you another title today. How about that?
Your name tag's gonna be too big to wear on your chest there. Like we'll get a bank or something.
Banker's hours then too. Does that come along with banker's hours?
Bankers, I know work pretty long hours. I don't know about that. If you own the bank, it's different.
Right.
Oh, it's kind of cool though. They have a proposal sheet, like for them to fill out for their department heads of how they came across. Whether it was for all three proposals, previous experience, evaluation.
I did not put that close. You had a chance to look at that very closely.
That's not.
Central County's procurement policy.
Eric,
Hmm?
since you're not here, I just want to let you know, Atchison Senior Village cash this week is negative 367,178.04. So I know it's something we've all been keeping our eye on, so I
Yeah.
want you to know that.
Thank you.
Yep.
There's an email from K.S.A. on April 19th. Did you find it?
Okay, no.
I had to search for
No.
procurement. and found it.
I did put it in a procurement folder.
I should make
Michelle?
one.
Is this for Tom?
I think I'll make one of those.
Yeah, 'cause there's one from Marshall County too.
Yeah. I
Or
said- I
dispatchers
forgot we had
have-
3 or 4
Yeah.
there. So it looks there's 2 there. I thought we had
This was
3.
actually something Eric wanted to
This
do.
is-
No, you're fine. I was
For Jerry Mack.
for his family. Okay. Oh, sorry, yours.
No, Jody's not in today, but what was her timeline on having the employee thing done? Manual? Remember? She said it was real close.
Yeah, because she presented her final version to us and we just picked,
It was going to the department heads. to
yep,
look
and
over.
then everybody was supposed to give her feedback, which
By
we gave,
timeline.
yeah.
Okay.
Let me
okay.
look.
So I forgot, that's right, so that's where it's at.
I missed that. What was that on?
And when the employee guide manual would be, the feedback would be back to us. from the department heads.
Yep.
July 11th?
Yep.
Okay, July 11th, okay.
Approving this manual during the July 11th regular.
So we want to get in the weeds of procurement after that.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to do this July 11th and then procurement following that. Perfect. I just like kind of a gauge of what's coming next, so I can be prepared. I should put
Have to
this.
sign it.
Which family member to send it?
I know. Here.
Right. We're gonna need more cards. Yeah. I
Because
was
you don't want, probably too long.
pretty in accident. He was not involved.
That's what I read.
That's.
I didn't know he was in that.
My family told me, that's all I
It's
remember.
like, it's like in 20, the globe find the little right. It was like 2021 is what the globe files.
That's
Oh, yeah.
terrible.
I read a story on it, and that would have been the addition, but the obit said 2020. So that I'll put 2020. Yeah, Jerry. Six. I kept Jerry when he was on the school board. Kept Jerry when he was county commissioner. Yeah.
30-minute time frame, is that, you feel, yeah,
I think if she gets all the feedback ahead of time from department heads.
Yeah.
I think. it
I'm
should-
sure it's gonna be a few tweaks or something there, but I noticed there's a couple of typos in there.
and do you want the procurement policy discussion after that, or do you just want me to put that in as a task? You could put that, put it in when you need it.
If we're going to use, might be helpful for us to get Mark some guidance, like if we're using Marshall County as a template, and then, but we understand we need X, Y, and Z exceptions. Like to get feedback from. I mean, I know Joe sent us his feedback for road and bridge through the engineer too, but like if anybody else has.
Yeah, that's gonna be helpful. And then, yeah, I'd reach out to Corey and the sheriff because
They'll have exceptions.
they have some internal policies. It'd be nice to just fold them into this and the approach. Because I think everybody's doing it, trying to do it the right way, but just want to make sure you get it uniform.
Yeah.
Just like Marshall County's.
Yeah.
And ours is inside of the other neighbor. That's probably very interesting. Some other policies, I think. Won't look like hamper, but well, that's what I thought. So let's look at that. Yeah, there's some other things in there. Morning, good morning.
Hey, guys.
Around here for one. Where do you want us? Mike's over here, so we're talking about one side or the other here. For those millions of home viewers. Yeah, I know. Which way? Can you put to this table?
Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're actually running ahead of schedule. So Joe Tolliver, Fair 2024 appropriation request, you're up.
Well, did
Yes,
the
we,
papers,
yep,
you guys have
we
seen
have,
them all?
yep,
and-
we have the,
You can use mine.
Okay. Well, I know we haven't never asked for an increase. And I figured the least we can do is ask, but we're running into not enough money to keep our barns up. And, you know, we're put on the tin on the ends of the barns, and luckily the labor was all donated, but the material did cost us, I think it's on there, $3,000. But then on the hog barn and the sheep barn, there's a lot of rotten wood. And we repaired some of it, and that was $2,200. But that was really just a small portion. As you know, what expenses are. Like I say, $7,500 still go very far on buying material. I mean, we try to do a lot of it or labor wise ourselves, but if the reason we had to hire on that wood on the sheet deal was because we was putting electrical in and we needed to replace that rotten wood so he didn't put the electrical on right. Had to get the new wood in there and then put the electrical on it. And we didn't have the time or to go get the wood, get it all done, because it all kind of had to happen in short order. But anyway, that got done. And the electrical in the sheep barn is first class. I mean, we're lucky we got the Votech to do it for us.
Oh, that's good.
They didn't charge us no labor. They just charged us for the material, which that's about $5,700. I think it was 55 on here, but it's actually 57.
Everything electrical is kind of
Oh,
crazy. It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
it is.
That was all Memorial money.
Yeah. Well, we haven't changed, shifted that over yet, but yeah, Clifford Hawk left us a substantial amount of money, but he really only wanted us to use the interest unless we had a big project, which this was, so we'll have it, the interest won't even come close to paying for it, so we'll have to get into his money to pay for that. But if we could increase, I don't know, we was talking about how much, and I don't know if we get $3,000 more, you know, per year would sure help us out, we think. I mean, we're gonna really start, and we're looking at the hog barn. Corey, you got a bid on that a couple of years ago. What was that, 25,000, but another guy, Jim Sheets, talked to Tar Waters the other day. They was some less, but I don't know exactly what they're proposing. So it might not be
Totally
apples to
revamp
apples.
it, or-
They're all wooden, it's all wooden with wire on it and the boards are falling apart.
I've been in it.
Yeah,
Whole new pin system.
whole new pin
Okay.
system for the,
Metal.
yeah, metal,
Yeah.
so we don't have to worry about wood no more.
Right.
And we did have we got a termite issue on the end of the sheep barn. I think he said, I talked to Richard Lemke and he said he was gonna take care of it. I don't know. He called me and told me what it's gonna cost or anything. Maybe we get lucky and he donates, but I don't know. But we do got termite issue with the, I don't know why that one barn, but that's the only one where we've seen it. When they was putting that tin on the end of it, they noticed it. So I guess that's, unless you got to add something, Corey, what do you think?
No. No, you covered.
I mean, you've seen what we kind of we've been spending money on, you know, with the horse arena, I mean, sound system and like I say, painting the roofs. We've kind of got them caught up, but it won't be but a year or two. We'll have to kind of almost start over with that paint and don't last forever. It ain't like replacing it with new tin, but we're hoping we can keep doing that. I mean, we ain't got no holes rusted in through it, but it was getting really rusty before we started getting it painted.
So what's the appropriation per year now?
7,500.
7,500,
How long has it been 7,500?
long as I can remember.
Only time I'm here.
Actually, it might have been a little bit more. I don't remember what year, and I'm not even for certain about this, but I think it was a little more and he cut us back. But that's been 20-something years.
Yeah, I think it's about the time, excuse me, I'm sorry, when the Amelia Earhart started their festival, they kind of changed so that it was, they wanted to kind of match the two, the appropriation fair and Amelia Earhart. And it's been dubbed under different, because I think there's 7,500 to the fair and then 7,500 to the maintenance. So total is 15,000 to the fair.
Right.
And then there's, I think it's Main Street and Amelia Earhart Festival equal the same amount on the other side. That was just how it was explained to me, but when I got in there, that was just the way they figured it out at that time, just for historical background.
So Amelia Earhart's separate, the chamber and Main Street are each 7,500. So
Okay,
Eric's
that's
right, but it was
yeah.
a chamber and Main Street.
All
Yeah.
right.
No, you're fine. I knew what
Yeah.
you were saying, just clarifying. That's.
Yeah. And, the 7,500 for the fair, I mean, that's fine. It's the maintenance part.
That you need
That-
3 extra.
It's just getting ahead of us on cost, on keeping it up. I mean, we take donations and we've done pretty good the last few years on getting donations from people. But we kind of use that money for entertainment and other things for the fair itself, not really. And if people specify they want to do something like Clifford Hawk wanted to do the wiring for the sheep barn, I mean, we definitely do that. Anybody that specifies where they want to spend the money, we do that. Some people just like to give you money for the entertainment, so when they come to the fair, help out.
So we're gonna go from the 15,000 to 18,000.
Yeah, total, yeah.
Commissioner Knoll, do you have any questions?
No, I know what they're up against. Expenses are up everywhere. And I do think that you're doing things as economical as you can with the donated labor and everything. So, and I appreciate that. So regardless of how the budget shakes out there, I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Commissioner Rivas?
No, I love the fair. Yeah, I've got there every year, so yeah, absolutely, I've figured out some way to help out.
By statute, there are two different statutes that come into play for the county's requirement for funding. One is K.S.A. 2-129, which relates to the premiums that they give out, that the county has an obligation to pay those. And based upon a report that's given to the county clerk each year. There's also a discretionary authorization for you to make payments for fair maintenance. So for maintenance of the buildings and things like that. So that's where you stand in terms of your obligation to make payments.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Are you guys tracking your volunteer hours out there at all? So you need to know if you have 500 hours.
No.
Whatever.
Think it helps, we would.
I
I
didn't
get in on the 10 and I really spent 2 days, 3 days, I think on
I
that.
saw the pictures on Facebook and stuff, so I've done a drive by, walked up by them, but yeah, it looks nice.
Projects like that you probably can, but boy, there's just, people do so many little things.
Oh, I
An hour
know.
here, an
Yeah,
hour
it's
there,
just
people
a
try to
Be
call.
interested to know, because to me, you're really magnifying this, like a $3,000 increase, maybe really worth 40,000.
Oh,
By the time you pay labor and electricians or whatever.
we're just trying to get a little better. I mean, that's
Right.
we know it's tax dollars and we don't want to spend any more than we absolutely have to. And
We don't want the buildings to fall down either.
No.
yeah,
Somebody get
exactly,
hurt or-
because we did price a new building and there, no way. I mean,
Oh.
a building, if we tore down the sheep and the hog and the show arena and put one big metal building there, just the building alone, and this ain't even a record, just the material was $320,000. And probably be that much again to get it put up.
Yeah, unless you're gonna have an arena that can have shows throughout the year.
It would,
Multiple events.
yeah, yeah, it would.
Which would be awesome.
Yeah.
great.
Well, it would be great. I mean, but we don't see how we can swing it. But maybe someday somebody will figure it out.
Speaking of tax dollars, while you guys are here, just pick your brain, because right before this, we were talking about budgets and our preliminary numbers after all the appropriations and departments and elected official asks. We're up about $3 million. Evaluations are up. And so we're gonna exceed the revenue neutral rate, and we're gonna have a hearing at 5 o'clock in the evening. We're checking availability on August 22nd, but from you guys' standpoint, because the public has to get buy-in. I mean, we're here, listening to all the requests and, but we represent people of the county and being able to give them information that they have to come out and voice their opinion, because in the past we haven't had feedback. Nobody comes to hearings, but I put myself in their shoes and it's like, I don't open my mouth unless I have information and understand the questions I need to ask. So do you feel like we should put more info out for you guys? And also you're going to be one of the appropriations that people can come and say, no or yes, or, voice their opinion on. I would like that to increase that communication channel with the public to say, because 3 of us sitting here, we know we can make cuts and we have ideas, but at the end of the day, we're representing the people and getting them an opportunity to come out and ask questions or voice their opinion, because
Oh, yeah.
we have the mindset of you. It's tax dollars. It's not ours. And $3 million over
That's a lot.
it is a lot.
It won't end up there, but that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where it is right now. And, You know, we've given department heads and elected officials opportunities to tell us where they want to cut. And now, I mean, it's going to be up to us to make decisions and get feedback from the public. So I think that our flyer last year showing where tax dollars go that we passed out, we walked through the parade. I think I heard nothing but positive feedback on that. People could see where their property tax is going. I didn't know if you guys, we talked about maybe having a booth out there or setting up a table at the fair where, you know, because based on our budget timeline, the 1st of August is ideal to say, hey, this is where we're at, you know, give us feedback and come, you know, here's information, come to a hearing, let us know your thoughts, but just kind of looking for if you guys have any thoughts or input.
Ideas.
Yeah. So,
I know what you mean.
I mean, as a
People don't like
taxpayer,
things that have been
yeah,
I know that.
but they have opinions. And so it's like getting
Do
that,
you get many people to come to it?
so we've never had anybody, no.
Nobody.
No, but the feedback I had is I would come, but I don't know what I'm coming for. Like, if you could see, here's the budgets, you know, this is what the increases are, and then you can ask questions because, but I just didn't know, you know. It's hard for me to want to go and ask questions when you don't have any information. You're like, I'm here to protest what? Well, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm protesting paying taxes. Like, but it's, I mean, anyone that has constructive criticism, I feel like they need more information to be able to voice their opinion of, I mean, because it's our job to shift it where we feel is necessary and cut where we, you know, but it's always helpful to have constituent feedback.
Quite remember that flyer, but it's probably short, basic, and simple.
Yeah.
Something they can look at.
Yeah.
1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, we just,
Was that front and back?
front and back of what we've accomplished, so accomplishments and what's coming in the future. And then percentages,
There was a breakdown for
100,000. Yep.
$100,000.
So,
Yeah. that'd be ways. Some basic, simple information in front of them.
yeah,
They can always go get it, I'm sure, in places. but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Force feed it to them.
yeah, have a little more input.
Parade.
Because just like you said, I mean, resources are
Casey.
scarce and expensive. What'd you say?
And like at a
Yeah,
parade,
yeah.
here.
No, that's what we did. That's what we did. We walked along and literally like every person, like, here you go, here you go. Force this, like, please read this, like, know that we're working for you, I promise.
You need to throw a full copy of the budget out off there, you know.
Yeah.
Off the float.
Right.
No rules, just don't hit a kid.
Things from the
Vehicle. Here comes the Reba paper engine.
Right? But,
I mean, my theory was to have a dump take it, donate $5 to dump the commissioner. So
hey, I'd be down.
I can't imagine anybody would ever want to do this, Casey. Now me, yeah.
I have three kids at home that would probably get their piggy banks out.
I think Eric and I can get most of Duncan, but we.
Maybe.
I went through the fair real quick just to kind of look at the appropriation amounts that were paid. Starting in 2009, it was $4,000. It was roughly $4,000 a year until 2013. It was moved to 5,000. 14, it was around 5,800, and then in 15, it looks like it was 7,500. So I haven't really looked at maintenance, but it's been that same amount since it looks like maybe 15.
Thank you.
I did too.
I haven't checked the maintenance amount, but there's been no increases, it looks like, since that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Okay. Unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? I think we kind of talked about the procurement policy and different things that. Yep. And so do we want to recess into budget workshop or just do budget workshop? Because we're here till 1 for sure before we adjourn into a workshop.
So we can do the.
County councilor when
other
he comes
stuff at
back.
the end. Start that now, so that works for me. Eric, is that all right with you?
Do we, I mean, just want to do it or do we have?
It's up to you. I don't care.
So you guys are gonna have a little booth at the fair?
So we were just talking about it, like, we're trying to figure out how to get information out to people so that they have a voice to let us know, I mean, where we're at.
Well, I was thinking that would be nice to put in a story.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a booth.
Probably
If
just,
you- if It's not really decided. I
yeah,
don't
it's
wanna
not
put that
decided yet,
in,
but we need to, when Eric has a
You
chance, we
know,
can,
to reserve a booth, you had the guy right here.
Yeah.
Could have done that, so.
Yeah. Well, I would not be opposed. I would be for it. I don't know how you guys feel.
You just gotta figure out how to man it, I mean, how
Yep.
it work.
Yep.
And how
So
we
let's-
we have a computer set up, we're gonna actually show people stuff.
Yeah. Maybe we can put some
Send
planning together next week or something and,
Or even if we even just email with a bunch of links to them so they can pull it up. I mean, somebody,
Yep.
there's just so much data, I mean, trying to hand out.
yeah. So to be continued. We'll let you know.
Okay, well, and I may not get anything written yet, but I was thinking of nicely. Nice touch to a story to let the public know.
Absolutely.
Plus,
Absolutely.
more people might come out to the fair. to
Absolutely.
criticize
Yes.
too, yeah.
I had the sheriff there.
Yeah.
Was it R&R rate?
They're always right there, right outside that door typically, they have
It was,
the sheriff.
oh,
That'd be close.
Really?
If needed, yeah.
A lot of times.
See, I
well,
think
they
it's a
used to
good
have
idea.
a
We
jump
need to do
tank
that.
too.
we're gonna like
Don't you
that
think,
idea.
Eric?
What's that?
Have a booth for the fair?
Yeah, I don't know. Do they even have booze in the blue building anymore or?
So
Or
last year
as
was like
far
the
as-
4-H, displays.
Yeah,
It was like the food, the photography, the clothing, all of that. Where does the sheriff set, is that?
He's outside. He was outside, right outside the building.
Okay.
Typically by the
I feel like that would be good, being outside, like where we always see
Traffic.
people, yeah,
Walking
Yeah,
in and out.
it's fine with me.
okay,
you can set all those awning
Yep.
things up in the table.
so yes, we will.
Okay.
There you go.
Like you said,
We can figure it out.
Yeah,
I think it'll be great,
yeah. We can go out there, man it, sit there.
yes.
Why not? Exactly. Why not?
Frito pies, all the good stuff.
Yeah, you'll
but-
gain 5 pounds a day.
Say, guys, my phones are working. Would it be an option? You want me to run in and finish the budget? I mean, because it's very hard for me to do anything
Yes,
here.
sir. That would be awesome,
I can be there in just a little while and
sounds great.
then we'll finish that. I have to come into town anyway for Dad to get some medication, so I'll
Okay,
sign off and I'll head your way.
awesome,
we're
sounds
gonna-
good.
We're gonna recess anyway for budget.
Well,
No, I think it's here.
yeah, we'll just wait for him, but we. County councilor, please.
I don't have anything today.
Okay. We have the need for any executive sessions. So I'm just thinking of the best practice for this scenario of we recess. That way the video for anyone watching it doesn't just sit there and spin for 50 minutes.
But waiting on Eric, yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
but we're
sense.
still here and available. And if a topic were to come up, we would come out of recess.
I think the best practice is to give them a time. So if somebody comes here,
Show up. Just go ahead.
because you have to have like your two people and.
Hi, you got it.
So the easiest way, if you're going to recess, is have her pause the recording.
Okay,
Because if not, then actually the two recordings together.
okay,
It's just about 4 hours.
okay.
So.
Yeah, thanks for
just
that.
Have her pause the recording if you think you're
come back on.
Okay, well, because our resolution, we have to be here, well, we will be here until 1 for our public meeting, but our agenda is just short today. So if we recess, I mean, we could sit here and just, but I'm just thinking for the public, like, they're gonna sit there for 50 minutes hoping something, like, and there's nothing gonna happen, so, until Eric,
So we do it, move to recess now and just pause it.
and then come back in before 1 to
Recess it and then. we can
adjourn
come
into
back in.
workshop.
If you think of more business to discuss, we can come back in like a quarter till.
Okay,
Or till 1, but to put a specific time frame when you
Okay.
do the recess.
Yeah.
And then that way, if somebody comes.
Yep.
say, well, we can discuss that in business at 1 or however, whatever time you decide is what it's just best to have
Perfect.
that return time.
Okay.
Available.
so how about we recess until 12:55, please? Okay,
That somebody from the clerk's office, when I was doing minutes, would have to stay.
until 1, yeah, okay.
It's recorded.
I just,
Shouldn't say we have to stay, we have to be back. Yeah.
Motion to recess, do we need a motion to recess?
So are we
Okay.
on recess now or
Yeah,
till 5 till?
you don't really need one to adjourn.
No, all right.
we just do it.
I think we're good.
Oh, that's good to know,
We're okay.
because we used
Yeah, go ahead and pause and we'll be back. in
last
5
year,
till 1.
year before, just leave.
So I'm gonna go here.
All right, we are back from recess and Commissioner Knoll has joined us in person, so thanks for that. Looking for approval of the expenses. Do I have a motion to approve the expenses for today?
So move.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes 3-0. Public comment? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn into workshop,
So move.
budget workshop, sorry.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Passes 3-0. We are turning into budget workshop. All right, use the restroom.